The massive Imperial fleet appeared without warning on a quiet Tuesday morning. Their ships broke through the darkness of space like a swarm of metal insects, their hulls gleaming under Earth's sun. The fleet was so large it created artificial constellations in the daylight sky, visible even to the naked eye. Admiral Thex stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dawn. His gray, scaled hands were clasped behind his back as he looked down at the blue planet through the ship's main viewing window. The sight of Earth, wrapped in its white clouds and blue oceans, made his lips curl into what his species considered a smile. This was his 40th conquest, and he expected it to be as simple as all the others. "Report," he ordered, his deep voice echoing across the silent bridge. Officer Reed, a younger member of his species with lighter scales, stepped forward with a datapad. "The planet shows signs of early space development, Admiral. They have a primitive space station, several satellites, and have managed a few visits to their moon. No significant defensive systems detected. Their most advanced weapons appear to be nuclear-based missiles." Thex nodded slowly. The humans were at level 3 on the Imperial technology scale, barely worth noting. His fleet carried weapons that could reshape continents. Their shields could withstand the force of a small sun. To him, Earth's defenses might as well have been sticks and stones. "Their communication systems?" Thex asked, still watching the planet spin slowly below. "Simple radio waves and digital signals, sir. We're intercepting and analyzing them now. Their planet is divided into nearly 200 political regions they call countries. No unified world government." This news made Thex's smile wider. Divided planets were the easiest to conquer. Show force to one region, and the others would fall in line quickly to avoid the same fate. It was a tactic the Empire had perfected over 10,000 years of expansion. "Begin standard first contact protocol," Thex commanded. "Send the message to their largest military powers. Give them one planetary rotation to respond." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had done this hundreds of times before. The message they sent was the same one that had brought countless worlds into the Empire. "People of Earth, you are now in the presence of the Galactic Imperial Fleet. Your world has been chosen to join our empire, bringing you the benefits of advanced technology, medical knowledge, and protection under Imperial law. Resistance is not advised. You have 24 hours to submit your formal acceptance. Failure to comply will result in a demonstration of Imperial power." As the message went out in all of Earth's major languages, Thex walked to his private chamber adjacent to the bridge. He picked up a small device from his desk, a holographic recorder. Like all Imperial officers, he kept a personal log of his conquests. Log entry 4891. He spoke into the device. "Earth first contact initiated. Planet shows typical level 3 development. Primitive space capability. Nuclear weapons present, but negligible threat to Imperial shields. Population approximately 8 billion. Divided planetary government. Prediction. Standard submission within allocated time frame. If resistance occurs, one demonstration strike should be sufficient." He paused, looking back through his viewport at Earth. "Note: planet has unusually large water resources. This alone will make it valuable to the Empire. Secondary note: local star is stable, planet's orbit is ideal. This sector could become a significant Imperial hub with proper development." Thex switched off the recorder and returned to the bridge. The next 24 hours would be routine, just waiting for Earth's inevitable surrender. His crew was already preparing the standard occupation protocols and drafting plans for the first Imperial base on the planet's surface. But deep in his gut, something felt different about this conquest. Maybe it was the way the humans had arranged their satellites, or the pattern of their radio communications. Something seemed too organized. He dismissed the thought. After all, what could a level 3 civilization possibly do against the might of the Empire? He would soon learn just how wrong his assumptions were. 23 hours had passed since the Empire's ultimatum. Admiral Thex paced on his bridge, his heavy boots making soft thuds against the polished floor. He had conquered 40 worlds, but none had ever waited this long to respond. Most planets surrendered within hours, eager to join the Empire and gain access to its advanced technology. "Sir," Officer Reed called out, his scaled fingers moving quickly across his control panel. "We're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's being broadcast simultaneously from multiple locations." Thex straightened his uniform. "Display it." The main screen lit up, showing a simple text message in clear, bold letters. "We respectfully decline. Please leave our solar system." Silence fell over the bridge. Then, several officers began to laugh. Thex didn't join them. Something about the message's simplicity worried him. "Sir," Reed spoke again, his voice shaking slightly. "There's more. They're broadcasting data packets along with the message." The screen filled with technical specifications, detailed scans of the Imperial fleet's shield frequencies, weapon configurations, and communication protocols. Information that should have been impossible for a Level 3 civilization to obtain. Thex's scales darkened, a sign of concern in his species. How did they get this data? Before anyone could respond, Earth's defensive satellites began moving. Not in the chaotic way of primitive technology, but with precise, coordinated movements. Hidden panels opened on their sides, revealing weapons systems that hadn't appeared on any Imperial scan. "Admiral," his tactical officer shouted, "we're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database. The humans, they're powering up some kind of defensive grid." Thex moved quickly to his command chair. "Open a channel to Earth's leaders." Now. The screen flickered, showing a simple conference room. 5 humans sat at a table, military leaders from different nations, judging by their uniforms. Their faces showed no fear. "This is Admiral Thex of the Imperial Fleet. Your response is unprecedented. No world has ever rejected Imperial protection. Reconsider your decision, or we will be forced to demonstrate our power." The human in the center, an older man with gray hair, spoke calmly. "Admiral, we've studied your demonstration protocols. You'll send one destroyer to attack a military installation, showing us the futility of resistance. Save yourself the trouble. We've been preparing for this day for over 70 years. Another human, a woman with short black hair, added, "Since 1947, when your scout ship crashed in Roswell. Did you really think we wouldn't learn from it? That was just the beginning." Thex's heart beat faster. The Roswell incident, a failed reconnaissance mission the Empire had written off as unimportant. But the humans had salvaged the technology, studied it, and prepared. "Even with stolen technology, you cannot hope to resist the Empire," Thex warned. "We have conquered thousands of worlds." "Perhaps," a third human replied. But none of them had spent generations watching the skies, building defenses, and preparing for this exact moment. "We're not afraid of you, Admiral. We just want to be left alone. This is your only warning." The transmission cut off. Thex stood in stunned silence, processing what he had just learned. These humans hadn't developed naturally. They had reverse-engineered Imperial technology. They had hidden their true capabilities, waiting and watching. "Sir," Reed's voice was urgent. "Our long-range scans are detecting more installations powering up across Earth's surface. They're rising from underground bunkers, emerging from ocean depths. The humans, they've built an entire hidden defense network." Thex made his decision. "Prepare the destroyer Swift Justice for a demonstration strike. Target their facility in the region they call Nevada. Show them what happens to worlds that defy the Empire." As he gave the order, Thex couldn't shake the feeling that he was making a terrible mistake. The humans' confidence, their preparation, their hidden technology, it all suggested they knew something he didn't. And soon, very soon, he would find out exactly what that was. The Imperial destroyer Swift Justice moved into position above Earth's atmosphere. Its sleek, dark hull stretched nearly 2 miles long, bristling with weapon systems that could level cities. Captain Leon stood on its bridge, proud to have been chosen for this demonstration strike. His ship would show these primitive humans the price of defiance. "Target locked on the Nevada facility, sir," his weapons officer reported. "Their defenses are active but primitive. Our shields can withstand anything they throw at us." Leon nodded, his silver scales gleaming under the bridge lights. "Begin the attack run. Let's show these humans what real power looks like." The swift Justice descended through Earth's atmosphere, its shields glowing bright orange from the heat of entry. As they broke through the cloud layer, the Nevada desert stretched out below them. Their target, a sprawling military base, lay exposed in the morning sun. "Sir," the sensor officer called out suddenly, "I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the surface." Before Leon could respond, the base below began to change. The ground itself seemed to split open, revealing massive hidden structures beneath the sand. Weapon systems unlike anything in Imperial records rose from the depths, all pointing at the swift Justice. "Impossible," Leon whispered. These weren't primitive defenses. They looked like modified Imperial technology, but somehow different, enhanced. "Evasive action," he shouted, but it was too late. The first shot from the surface wasn't a missile or a laser. It was a focused pulse of energy that exactly matched the frequency of the swift Justice's shields. The shields didn't just fail. They collapsed completely, as if they had never existed. "How did they?" Leon's question was cut short as more weapons opened fire. Each shot was precisely calculated, targeting systems the humans shouldn't have known existed. The swift Justice's engines failed first, then its weapons, then its communications. Back on the Eternal Dawn, Admiral Thex watched in horror as the swift Justice's signal vanished from his tactical display. "Report," he demanded. Officer Reed's hands shook as he worked his console. "The destroyer's gone, sir." "Not destroyed. Disabled. The humans, they knew exactly where to hit us. They knew all our weaknesses." A transmission cut through the stunned silence on the bridge. The same human leaders appeared on screen, but now they stood in what looked like an advanced command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing detailed scans of the Imperial fleet. "Consider that a demonstration of our own Admiral," the gray-haired leader said calmly. "Your destroyer is intact. Its crew is unarmed. We've simply turned it off. They'll be our guests until you decide to leave our solar system." Thex's tactical officer spoke up, panic in his voice. "Sir, we're detecting the same weapon signatures powering up at locations all over the planet. They have enough firepower to disable the entire fleet." "How?" Thex demanded. "How do you have this technology?" The human woman from before smiled. "We didn't just study the crashed ship from Roswell. We've quietly collected pieces of Imperial technology for decades. Every scout ship, every probe, every piece of debris. We studied them all. But more importantly, we improved them. Improved Imperial technology. That's not possible." Thex scoffed, but fear crept into his voice. "Your Empire's weakness, Admiral," another human leader added, "is that you stopped innovating. You've used the same shield frequencies, the same weapon designs, the same tactical patterns for centuries. We spent 70 years thinking about how to beat them." As if to prove their point, more hidden bases emerged across Earth's surface. Satellites shifted position, revealing concealed weapon systems. Strange devices rose from the oceans, all aimed at the Imperial fleet. Thex realized with growing dread that he had completely underestimated these humans. They hadn't just prepared for invasion. They had spent generations creating the perfect counter to Imperial technology. His mighty fleet, terror of 1,000 worlds, hung helpless before a civilization that had barely reached their own moon. And this was just the beginning of humanity's surprises. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, General Jack West walked through rows of reverse-engineered alien technology. The massive underground complex stretched for miles, filled with 70 years' worth of human innovation and determination. Today, all that preparation was finally paying off. Status report. He called out to the busy control room. Hundreds of technicians and military personnel from different nations worked together, monitoring screens that showed the Imperial fleet hanging motionless above Earth. "Their disabled destroyer has been secured, sir," reported Dr. Anna Miller, head of the Alien Technology Division. She pulled up a holographic display showing the captured Imperial ship. "Our boarding teams are already studying their latest tech. Interesting. They haven't updated their systems in over 50 years." The general nodded. The Empire's overconfidence had been humanity's greatest advantage. While they had stayed the same, humans had taken their technology in new directions. "Show me our current defensive coverage," he ordered. The main screen lit up with a global map. Green dots marked their hidden bases, hundreds of them, on every continent, under every ocean. Some were built inside mountains, others deep in rainforests. The largest facilities sat at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, completely invisible to Imperial scans. Base 7 in Australia is reporting successful activation of their gravity web, a young technician announced. "The Imperial ships won't be able to leave orbit without our permission." West allowed himself a small smile. The gravity web had been one of their best innovations, a combination of Imperial anti-gravity technology and human creativity. It created an invisible net that could trap any ship in Earth's orbit. Dr. Miller walked up with a tablet showing new data. "Sir, you should see this. We just finished analyzing their communication systems. The Empire still uses the same quantum protocols we found in the Roswell crash. They never thought anyone would crack them. And we did more than crack them," West replied. "Show me the AI core." A heavy blast door opened, revealing a massive chamber. In its center floated a glowing sphere, humanity's greatest secret weapon. They called it Atlas, and it was built using fragments of code found in countless pieces of Imperial technology. But unlike the Empire's simple computer systems, Atlas was something new. Something that combined human machine learning with alien processing power. It didn't just break Imperial codes, it rewrote them. "Atlas," West spoke to the glowing sphere. "Show me what you've learned about their fleet." The AI's response appeared on screens around the room. Detailed scans showed every weakness in Imperial ship design, every flaw in their tactical programs. Atlas had already broken into their navigation systems, their weapons controls, even their life support. "They rely too heavily on automation," Dr. Miller explained. "Their ships are filled with AI systems that haven't been updated in centuries. Atlas can shut them down with a single command." A junior officer rushed in with new information. "Sir, our teams in the Mariana Trench facility have finished preparing the pulse cannons. We can disable the entire Imperial fleet whenever you give the order." West looked at the strategic display. Humanity's hidden arsenal was beyond anything the Empire had imagined. While they had expected to find primitive weapons, Earth had prepared an intricate web of advanced technology, all carefully hidden until it was needed. "What about Project Mirror?" he asked. Dr. Miller's eyes lit up. "Ready, sir. Once Atlas finishes mapping their fleet's command protocols, we can turn their own weapons against them. Their automated defense systems will target each other." West watched the Imperial ships on the main screen. They still didn't realize that Earth's surface defenses were just the beginning. The real surprises were yet to come. "Send word to all bases," he ordered. "Begin Phase 2. Let's show the Empire what happens when you give humans 70 years to prepare for a fight." Around the world, more hidden facilities powered up. In orbit, satellites moved into attack positions. And deep beneath the oceans, mountains, and deserts, humanity's hidden arsenal waited to be unleashed. The Empire was about to learn a hard lesson. Never underestimate human ingenuity. Admiral Thex stared in disbelief as his fleet's systems began failing one by one. Warning lights flashed across every ship. Alarms blared. Nothing in his 40 years of service had prepared him for this. "Sir, we've lost control of our weapons. Officer Reed's voice was filled with panic. Our automated defense systems are. They're targeting each other. Across the fleet, Imperial ships turned their guns on their neighbors. Shields flickered and died. Communication systems broadcast nonsense. The mighty Imperial Armada had become a cluster of confused, vulnerable vessels. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Miller watched the chaos unfold on her screens. Atlas, their AI system, had successfully infiltrated the Imperial fleet's outdated computer networks. All ships are compromised, she reported to General West. Atlas has complete control of their automated systems. Should we proceed with Phase 2? West nodded grimly. Launch the drones. From hidden bases around the world, thousands of small craft emerged. They looked like simple Earth satellites but carried technology that was anything but primitive. Each drone was powered by a hybrid engine, part Imperial tech, part human innovation. Drones are in position, a technician announced, ready to deploy the electromagnetic web. The drones moved into a complex formation around the Imperial fleet. At a signal from Atlas, they activated their special weapons, not to destroy, but to capture. On the Eternal Dawn's bridge, Thex watched in horror as strange energy fields appeared between the Earth drones. The fields connected, forming a massive web around his ships. What is this technology? He demanded. But his officers had no answers. The sensors couldn't make sense of what they were seeing. The web began to pulse with blue energy. Wherever it touched an Imperial ship, that vessel's systems went completely dark. No weapons, no engines, no communications. Nothing worked except basic life support. Message from Earth Command, Reed reported shakily. They say this is their counterattack. The main screen lit up, showing General West in the underground command center. Admiral Thex, he spoke calmly. Your fleet is now under our control. Atlas has already downloaded your entire military database. We know every Imperial protocol, every fallback plan, every emergency measure. There's nothing left to try. As if to prove his point, holographic displays appeared on every ship in the fleet, showing exactly how the humans had defeated them. The reverse-engineered technology, the improved weapons, the AI that had turned their own systems against them. Impossible, Thex whispered. We are the Empire. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. That's exactly why you failed, Dr. Miller replied, stepping into view beside West. You stopped advancing, stopped innovating. While you relied on the same technology for centuries, we took it apart, improved it, and prepared for this day. Around the Earth, more hidden weapons revealed themselves. Massive cannons rose from mountain bases. Orbital platforms shed their primitive disguises, showing their true power. We don't want your empire, West explained. We don't want your worlds or your resources. We just want to be left alone. But if you force this fight, we will finish it. To demonstrate their point, Atlas activated one of the captured Imperial destroyers. The ship moved through space under human control, its weapons turning to target the Eternal Dawn. Your technology, Admiral, Miller added, in human hands. Imagine what we could do with your entire fleet. Thex looked around his helpless bridge. His mighty fleet, terror of 1,000 worlds, hung powerless in space, defeated not by brute force, but by human ingenuity and patience. Perhaps, he said slowly, we should discuss terms. The humans had done more than defend their world. They had changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever. And this was just their first demonstration of power. The Empire's worst nightmare had come true. They had finally met a species that was more than their match. The Imperial Palace on Capital World was in chaos. News of the fleet's defeat had spread faster than anyone could contain it. The massive crystal dome of the High Council chamber buzzed with angry voices as council members demanded answers. High Commander Voss, leader of all Imperial military forces, stood before them trying to explain the impossible. His usual confident posture was gone, replaced by visible worry. The humans didn't just defeat Admiral Thex's fleet. he reported, his voice echoing in the chamber. They captured it. Every ship, every weapon, every piece of technology. They now control it all. The council members erupted in shouts. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others called for negotiations. A few simply sat in stunned silence. "Show us," ordered Supreme Counselor Marcus, the oldest and most respected member of the council. Voss activated the chamber's holographic system. Images appeared showing the Imperial fleet hanging helpless above Earth, caught in strange energy fields. More images followed. Human facilities rising from oceans and mountains, their advanced weapons on full display. "They've been preparing for decades," Voss explained. "Every piece of Imperial technology that reached Earth, crash sites, probe debris, lost scouts, they studied it all. But they didn't just copy our technology. They improved it. On screens across the Empire, citizens watched in disbelief as humans demonstrated their power. Imperial ships moved under Earth's control, their weapons and shields now serving human commanders. The Empire's own automated systems had been turned against them by something the humans called Atlas. The situation is worse than just military defeat," Voss continued. "News is spreading through the Empire. 3 colonial worlds have already demanded independence. They say if humans could defeat us, the Empire's protection means nothing." In the darker corners of the galaxy, other species began to move. The reptilian traders of the Outer Rim started selling their Imperial bonds. The warrior clans of the mid-sectors began testing their borders. Every race that had ever resented Imperial rule saw an opportunity. "Our spies report growing unrest," an intelligence officer added. "The humans didn't just defeat our fleet. They proved we're not invincible. Every world we've conquered is watching. Some are already contacting Earth, asking for their technology." Supreme Counselor Marcus raised his hand for silence. "What are the humans demanding?" "That's the strangest part," Voss replied. "They demand nothing except to be left alone. They don't want our territory. They don't want payment. They've even offered to return our ships once we sign a non-aggression treaty." The council chamber filled with confused murmurs. In 10,000 years of Imperial history, no species had ever won a victory, and not used it to gain power or territory. "There's more," Voss added grimly. "They've broadcast a warning to the entire Empire. They say they've hidden copies of their defensive technology on several worlds, allies they made in secret. If we attack Earth again, those worlds will reveal themselves and rise up against us." The council members looked at each other in growing fear. The Empire had always maintained power through superior technology and military might. Now both advantages were gone. "We're receiving reports from the border sectors." An aide rushed in to announce, 3 more worlds have declared independence. They say they've been in contact with Earth. They say the humans have taught them how to defeat our weapons." Supreme Counselor Marcus stood slowly, his ancient voice carrying across the chamber. "We face a choice, council members. We can accept humanity's terms and maintain what power we have left, or we can fight and risk losing everything." The empire that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years now faced its greatest crisis, not from conquest or rebellion, but from a single planet that had simply refused to surrender. And somewhere on Earth, humanity watched and waited for their answer. 1 month after Earth's victory, the galaxy had changed forever. In the same underground facility where humans had planned their defense, representatives from Earth now sat across from Imperial diplomats. The peace conference that would reshape the galaxy was about to begin. Admiral Thex, no longer proud but still dignified, led the Imperial delegation. He had been chosen because he was one of the few who truly understood how completely humans had outmaneuvered the Empire. "We accept your terms," he announced formally. "The Empire will recognize Earth as a sovereign, independent world. We will establish a no-entry zone around your entire solar system." General West nodded, but Dr. Miller spoke up from beside him. "And the other conditions?" "Yes," Thex continued, his scales slightly darker with discomfort. The Empire will also recognize the independence of any world that chooses to leave our control. We will not attempt to stop them or punish them. Atlas, the AI that had helped defeat the Imperial fleet, displayed the latest statistics on the room's main screen. 27 worlds had already declared independence. 15 more were preparing to do so. The mighty empire was shrinking day by day. "There's something we don't understand," one of the Imperial diplomats said. "You have the power to demand anything. You could take control of the empire itself. Why ask only for this?" West smiled. "Because that's not who we are. We don't want to rule anyone. We just want to live in peace and help others do the same." In orbit above Earth, the captured Imperial fleet was being prepared for return. Human engineers had removed their most advanced modifications, but left some improvements as a reminder of Earth's capabilities. Each ship now carried a small device, a gift from humanity. "The devices we've installed on your ships," Dr. Miller explained, "will provide your crews with basic medical technology and clean water generation, a sign of good faith." Thex looked surprised. "You're giving us technology after we tried to conquer you." "Peaceful technology only," West clarified. "Things that help people, not hurt them. That's the difference between us, Admiral. We believe power comes with responsibility." Around the galaxy, the effects of Earth's victory continued to spread. The newly independent worlds began forming their own alliance, not an empire, but a cooperative of free planets. Many of them adopted modified versions of Earth's defensive technology, ensuring they would never be conquered again. In the Imperial Palace, Supreme Counselor Marcus signed the official peace treaty. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Empire had to acknowledge it was no longer the supreme power in the galaxy. "Your world has changed everything," Thex admitted, looking at the humans around the table. "Many in the Empire wanted to launch a full attack on Earth with all our remaining forces. But we realized something. You weren't just ready for that. You were hoping for it." West nodded. "We had surprises ready that we never had to use. Sometimes the best victory is the one where you don't have to show all your cards." As the conference concluded, news broadcasts across the galaxy showed the Imperial fleet departing Earth's solar system. But they didn't leave in shame or defeat. Instead, each ship was repaired, improved, and supplied with humanitarian technology. Earth had turned enemies into potential friends. "Remember this day," Dr. Miller told the Imperial diplomats as they prepared to leave. "Not as the day you lost your power, but as the day you gained new allies." Atlas displayed one final message in both human and Imperial language: peace through strength, progress through cooperation. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of empire had ended, replaced by something new, a future where worlds could choose their own path. And at the center of it all was Earth, the planet that had dared to say no to an empire and succeeded. The humans had done more than win a war. They had shown the galaxy a better way forward.